Have you ever bought something and end up not using it as much as you thought you would? Maybe it's a piece of clothing or a gadget or a digital subscription or a gym membership. I have a camera that I bought back in 2020, which is this camera, the Fuji X-T3. These days I'm not using it much. I really want to get back into the habit of picking up my camera often and just using it to take whatever. Doesn't have to be fancy or cinematic or artistic. So for the next 7 days, I'm gonna spend at least 1 hour a day taking photographs, and it starts today. And to make it more fun, each day will be at a different location. Whenever I'm outdoors and I'm holding the camera, I feel quite self-conscious. So I'm gonna take baby steps. And for today, the location is gonna be at home, the house that I'm currently living in. Let's see what's photo-worthy. That term itself can be a bit problematic because how do you decide what's photo-worthy? Who gets to decide? So it can be quite subjective. Those pencils, there's nothing particularly interesting about them. Let's just take a photo of them for warm-up. How about that trash can? I took an anthropology class in college once. I heard the professor saying some anthropologists will go through trash. Even though it's just trash, it is a record of your existence. How about the light bulb? I was just reading an article about William Eggleston, how the New York Times, I think, reacted to his exhibition. They thought it was boring and banal and uninteresting. Someone like Daido Moriyama or Araki will be able to make something out of this. We are out in the backyard. I've always liked decaying stuff. There's something that draws me towards them. There's some character in those gloves. There's probably more things that I can shoot in this backyard. Okay, I just saw one now, so we'll go over there. This pattern. So I'm about to browse through the photos from today, and I'm just gonna record some of the thoughts that come up. I also like that plastic file on the sofa. It's not exactly abstract because you know that these are actual physical items, but when you take a photo and turn it into a photograph, it becomes something else. Do you like this self-portrait? Because first, it's a dirty mirror. It's like a metaphor because a mirror is what you use to look at yourself, and when that mirror is dirty, can you really see the true self? Or is it obstructed and distorted by all the dirt? It sort of reflects our perception of ourselves, like we think we know ourselves clearly, but it probably is distorted by the dirt that is our ego. I feel even more self-conscious now because I'm holding not just the camera, but I'm also recording myself. It's a sunny day and there's one unemployed guy walking around with a camera. If someone asks me what I'm doing, what would I say? Probably that I'm taking a photography class. I don't think anybody will ask. That used to be a red rooster, I think. I'm interested in these shadows on the ground. I think they're not leaves, but droppings from the trees and plants. It almost looks like a camouflage. It makes me wonder why we take photos, why I take photos. Do I take photos of things that I find interesting? Do we need to justify that interest? Or can we just take photos of whatever we want? I mean, of course we can. Of course we can. I think we're free to curate however we want. Taking photos should be as natural as singing karaoke or just humming a tune. Does it have to be unique? Does it have to show something that most people don't get to see most of the time? Or can it be wherever? Wherever? Okay, they know that somebody's holding up a stick-like thing. Do you have to be so loud? I'm barely on the ground and these guys are like screaming as if I'm about to come up. Well, but they're the beasts of the land, so what can you do? Nope, not interesting. Even to my standards, not interesting. I'll rather take a photo of the path. And there's water on the... What am I looking for in terms of beauty and aesthetics? I don't particularly care about photographing flowers or animals, I guess, unless I'm paid to do so. I just smell some coffee and it's really good. Are people inherently interesting? Two random strangers outdoors, are they worthy of being photographed? Are they worthy of you photographing them in that particular time? Does a person need to fulfill some type of role in the story that you want to tell to make them worthy of being photographed? If all these people have their own drama, then what's the point of photographing them? I'm probably not putting it in the best way. Why will I photograph faces when I can photograph actions, outfits, or the roles that they're playing in public? Why would you take photos of something but not another thing? What's the thought process that happens before you press the shutter and as you press the shutter, or when you decide not to press the shutter? Reminds me of that James Bond movie scene where Bond and Q are in the British Museum. Well, Q says every once in a while the trigger has to be pulled, and then Bond replies, or not pulled. It's hard to know which in your pajamas. How do you know when to press the shutter button and when not to? How do you know which photo to present and which to ignore, at least for the time being, and leave it in the hard drive somewhere? If I go through the photos that I take and then pick which ones I like the most, I'll realize something about what it says about me as a person, as a photographer, as someone who looks at photos, what I'm fascinated by. Hi, can I get chips and gravy?
Chicken salt?
Yes, please. So now I'm at a parking lot in a big shopping center, and this shopping center is so special because I can say that I know every inch of this shopping center. Well, I don't actually. Suppose I do, because I pushed trolleys in this parking lot for 6 months. 6 months. 6 months is a long time when you're pushing trolleys. Okay, let's just take a trolley shot first. I remember seeing a photo of a Japanese photographer. I guess it was near a fast food restaurant On this ground there was just a spilled soda cup, some packaging from a hamburger or something, and that looked super interesting to me. That felt like beauty out of trash. How do you make a piece of trash interesting? KFC, Hungry Jacks. Someone's hungry, not me. I'm good. I had butter rice. So I'm sure there's definitely some thought process behind when we press the shutter button. Like when we decide to press a shutter button or not to press a shutter button, there's always some kind of justification going on in our head, if only subconsciously. And it will be good to have a better idea of how that subconscious works, if only for the inside. Now I'll just try to take a few photos from the car, from inside the car. I guess it could be a little voyeuristic, but yeah. Why would I take a photo of that woman? The woman near the subway. Okay, that's a good question. Is it just because she happens to be in front of the camera? Is there anything interesting about her? I don't know. And what about that couple in the car? What kind of drama am I expecting from the people? I think that could be a bit interesting because we don't get to see who they really are, and it sort of feels voyeuristic. This is just a photo of the strangers on its own, but this becomes a voyeuristic. I'm in the parking lot of a weekend market near my suburb. This feels like a nice small street. I find myself zooming in most of the time. I'm using an 18 to 55mm lens on this APS-C camera. And just like that, the 7 days ended. To be honest, there were days where I didn't spend the entire hour taking photographs. But other than that, this project helped me rediscover photography. By doing this project and also through the process of making this video, I got to rediscover fine arts photography as well. I ended up downloading and reading a few books on photography, history, and also theory, because I realized that the questions that came to me during this 7-day period are the same questions that other people have been trying to answer. I'm also thinking to buy a compact camera that I can carry in my pockets, keep it with me 24/7 so that it's easier for me to take photos without having to use my phone. I can say that I'm really glad having done this project. It exposed me to photography again after quite a long time. Have fun taking photographs.